Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Not My Star Wars live stream. Disney's Disastrous 2020 full year earnings results. Today is a very big day for Disney. November 12th. It is the 1-year anniversary of Disney Plus. It is also their fourth quarter and full year financial earnings statement. So at 4 p.m., they're usually on time, but right around 4 p.m., they will be doing their live webcast, giving their fourth quarter and full year report of their financial data and what's going on. In the last report, we heard about layoffs. We saw that there were a little over 40 billion in debt. We saw that Disney Plus is around 60 million subscribers, and with Hulu and ESPN, they're at 100 million subscribers. So we're going to see what's going on now. I have no doubt in my mind that everything is worse. I wanted to start a few minutes earlier so I can preface with a couple things that have happened in the past week or so that also factor into this. So first, just a second. Okay, about a week ago, Pedro Pascal on his Instagram posted this. Losers in 1865, the Confederates. Losers in 1945, the Nazis. And losers in 2020, there's a MAGA hat. Trump supporters. Okay. I personally don't care if you are Democrat, Republican, support Trump, support Biden, whatever. It makes no difference to me. To me, it's not about that. I also want to mention a lot of people ran with this and said, well, he's calling Trump supporters Nazis. I don't think it's that extreme. He's not necessarily equating that if you're a Trump supporter, you're a Nazi and a Confederate. He's just saying that you're a loser, which is just as bad. Again, it doesn't matter if Biden wins, Trump wins, who you support. What matters is that we know by the up to now results that a good 70 million people voted for Donald Trump. So you're now alienating, again, half of the Star Wars franchise, half of the Star Wars fans, by putting out something stupid like this, calling the fans losers. Put something up, it's there, so you have to think about what you're doing. And people caught it, and it got all over Twitter. He then proceeded to double down on it. You'll see in a second, DZ Studios. Thanks for being here. He doubled down on it, and he's going on about how, basically Trump supporters are idiots and losers. Okay, again, I don't care. What I'm saying is Star Wars has been in trouble for a while now. That franchise is pretty much dead. They've lost tons of money. They haven't even made back their investment of $4 billion buying it. Disney's in massive trouble, massive debt. And now you've got the one show that's even keeping you a spark of life, The Mandalorian. The lead guy is calling half the Star Wars fan base losers. Not smart. And that's why he deleted it right away, because I'm sure he got a phone call from lawyers and from Disney saying, what the hell are you doing? So this will tie in just a second here. Yes, they just fired 28,000 people. I know, and I'll be talking about that. So you've got The Mandalorian, which isn't doing great. Remember last year, everybody was hyped about it. Everybody on social media and their grandmother was posting Baby Yoda and The Mandalorian. This year, nobody's talking about it. Yes, there's a few people making videos. Yes, there's some people that like the show, but it's not like it was last year, nor is the marketing. The Mandalorian is declining quickly. People are getting over it. It's a very slow show. It's not progressing, and nothing special is happening. You can only woo us with little, cool effects for so long, and member berries. So, a Lego video of Mando, I guess you're saying? I'd like to check it out. If you want to put the link or the name, I'll check it out. I love Lego stuff. Okay, especially if it's Star Wars stuff. So the point here is that Mando's in trouble. Disney in general is in trouble, and Disney has fired and laid off and furloughed hundreds of thousands of people. The parks are all closed. The hotels are closed. The cruises are closed. They are losing massive amounts of money, and they're not bringing in any money. They have very publicly said that what they're doing now is they're going to put everything into their streaming, Disney Plus. But when Disney Plus's main attraction is The Mandalorian, and people aren't even watching it, and then you've got stuff like this, the lead actor saying, hey, half of you Star Wars fans are a bunch of losers, it's not good. Now, it's the year anniversary of Disney Plus. I bought this just for Lego Baby Yoda is the video. Okay. I'll check it out. So now compound this by all of Disney's problems, how much they've destroyed the Star Wars saga, the franchise. And today is the year anniversary of Disney Plus. Well, a lot of people got Disney Plus for free for a year because of the Verizon deal. So a lot of those subscriptions are because of the Verizon deal, not people paying money and wanting to sign up. So today, sure, some people are going to buy a membership, but a lot of those people that had the free membership are just going to be like, and not re-sign. So today, they will be losing millions of subscribers, especially the way they treat fans, the way they talk to people, and The Mandalorian is not doing that great. Now, Doomcock, while we're only going by his source, according to him, the first episode of Mandalorian got 58,000 views. Okay, so I said it before, and I'm going to remind everybody, The Mandalorian is not going to save Disney. They're in big trouble. And we're going to see it here in just a few minutes in their live webcast. It's coming up in a few minutes. So you've got Pedro talking smack to the fans, stupid. Disney's declining, everything's closed, not bringing any money. Mando's not doing well. And today's the renewal, plus the financial report. And bet your bottom dollar that a lot of people are going to want to see the results of today's report before they decide to re-up on Disney Plus. And I already know that the report is going to be disastrous. So Disney Plus is in trouble. That's where all their money is. And in fact, let me show you guys something real quick. Let me show you guys two things. By the way, to hear or see the financial report, it's thewaltdisneycompany.com. Now, here, October 12th, exactly a month ago, they announced a strategic reorganization of its media and entertainment business. I'm not going to go through this article. Basically, what they're saying is we're putting everything into Disney Plus. We're restructuring everything to put it into Disney Plus. That's what we're counting on. You can read the article. It's there. The link is also at the bottom of the description of this stream. Okay, so they go on and on about how they're so great and that you're going to do all this stuff with media and Disney Plus, and they're putting all their eggs in that basket. Not the parks, not the movies, not the hotels or any of that. The Disney Plus, which is foolish because Disney Plus is declining. All right, now I'll come back here. If you come to the WaltDisneyCompany.com, and it's up here in investor relations, but you can also come down investor relations. Here's Mando, a few more. It's looking like it's about to start or started, so we'll get to it. But here's, you can click and hear the report. And if you scroll down, you can see the PDFs. They haven't put up the new one yet. It'll probably go up after the webcast, which I will analyze, assuming it's there, after we go through the webcast. One other quick thing I'm going to mention, and we'll get to it, is this was just November 11th, okay? India Broadcasting Ministry to regulate streaming services and online content. Disney's content in India is Hotstar. Hotstar is Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN, and other little networks they have. So now a new commission is going to regulate what's going on in India. India is one of the biggest internet markets. So if India, for some reason, doesn't like the fact that Disney's filming Mulan in slave camps in China, or the way they're getting treated, or the cost of the service, or anything, they can limit or ban Disney Plus. And this is one of their biggest, most important markets. So this is a big thing that just happened. All right, so you've got Disney and Disney Plus declining. You got Pedro Pascal being an idiot. You got the new memberships today that for the year anniversary of Disney Plus, and then you got also this regulatory thing. All of this looks very bad for Disney. All right, so let's get to the call, and let me double check that the audio is sharing. Just a moment. Okay, and please let me know if I'm going to start now. Let me know if you guys can hear it. And as a matter of fact, let me put on my earphones. Of course, they got all tangled up right now. Come on. Okay, let's get to it. And if you can confirm, hello, Tyler, thanks for being here. Let me know if you guys can hear it. You should be able to. No, maybe it's not up yet. Let me see. Oh, now it's 4:30. Okay. So, well, we've got a few minutes to talk then. What time is it? 4:02, half an hour. Shoot. Okay, well, so as I was saying, we can look through this maybe. All right. Yeah, you guys should be seeing it. The Walt Disney Company announced a strategic reorganization of its media and entertainment business. New structure designed to further accelerate the company's direct-to-consumer strategy in light of rapid success of Disney Plus. Okay, so they're claiming that Disney Plus is rapidly succeeding. Now, as I covered in the third quarter report, no, it's not. When Disney Plus was roughly 3 to 6 months old, they announced they had 53 million subscribers. A couple months ago, they announced they had 60 million subscribers. So in several months, they got roughly 5 million subscribers. That's not rapidly succeeding. Netflix has, I forget the exact number right now. It's in my third quarter report video. They have 100 and some, I want to say 128 million subscribers. Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN combined only have 100 million subscribers. So Disney Plus is not doing as good as they would like you to believe. Company's creative engines will focus on producing content for DTC, that's direct to consumer, as well as legacy platforms, while newly centralized distribution group will oversee commercialization and distribution of all content globally. Okay, so they're sitting there telling you. In light of the tremendous success achieved to date in the company's direct-to-consumer business and to further accelerate its direct-to-consumer strategy, the Walt Disney Company today announced a strategic reorganization of its media and entertainment businesses. Under the new structure, Disney's world-class creative engines will focus on developing and producing original content for the company's streaming services, as well as for legacy platforms. While distribution and commercialization activities will be centralized into a single global media and entertainment distribution organization, the new media and entertainment distribution group will be responsible for all monetization of content, both distribution and ad sales, and will oversee operations of the company's streaming services. It will also have sole P&L accountability for Disney's media and entertainment businesses. Okay, so what they're saying is we're going to continue closing parks and furloughing employees and shutting down things so that we can have a small group of people just creating content for Disney Plus or running Disney Plus. Now, if everyone's locked down, and especially with this new president, which today announced he's probably going to lock down the country for 4 to 6 weeks, okay? Or let me be fair. That's what his pandemic, what's the word I'm looking for? Advisory team, right? He put together a team, right? They're advising him to shut down the country for 4 to 6 weeks. Well, he says he's going to use science and go by what they tell him. So be prepared. Aside from that, we know everything's closed down. We know that nobody is filming anything. Disney keeps saying they're going to do Obi-Wan and all these different things. No, they're not, because everything's closed. And it's only going to get worse. So as far as new content, and it's not just Disney, Hollywood, Netflix, whoever, you're not going to be seeing a whole lot of new content for a while because nobody can get together and film this stuff. Now, there's ways they can work around it. Disney has talked about making a, like renting an Air Force base and making it a village and just having a contained area where people can work together. So you could do certain stuff, like certain shows like Mandalorian, they could probably pull off because a lot of it is in that digital set. But just as a general entertainment, and this, again, is not just Disney, it's Netflix and everybody, you can't really produce content right now. So for Disney to be saying, well, forget the parks and everything else, we're just going to focus on Disney Plus is suicide because nobody can create content. You can only recycle the stuff that you have so long. By the way, you should expect, and I said this a while ago, the November 26th Black Widow will be on Disney Plus. As a matter of fact, let me check one of the places that movie now. No, what is that thing called? Oh shoot, I'm forgetting. Give me a moment. I will find it. Oops. No, it's not there. Okay, it's probably here then. Sorry, guys, I can't remember the name of the damn site right now. Here. By the way, here's that video I was talking about, the Disney's dismal third quarter financial woes. No, it's not here. Shoot. Oh man, I can't remember the name right now. Oh, that's silly. Will you be showing the call on here? Yes. We will listen to the actual call live. Okay. Sorry, I can't remember the name of that damn site right now. It'll come to me and I'll show you guys. I hope they address the parks this time. Okay. No, neither am I, but you can see the call regardless if you're an investor or not. I hope they address the parks this time. All right, in my third quarter, Disney's dismal third quarter, in that report, they do talk about the parks. They talk about $1 billion to just get them started back up. They talk about that they've laid off 100,000 employees. They talk about that they had $5 billion in loss from the parks. So they will talk something about the parks. They have to. It's part of the financial report. We'll be hearing about that. So do you believe they'll report a bit lower? No, not there. I don't believe they're going to report a bit lower. They're going to report a lot lower. Lower when you say lower as in better or lower as in worse. They're going to be reporting a lot more debt. They were just over 40 billion in the last report. So in this report, you can expect easy 10 more billion in debt and probably more. It's probably going to be far worse. We'll be showing the call on here. Yes, we will watch it live. They didn't address the construction and closed hotels. Yeah, they dance around stuff a lot. They're not going to tell you everything straight because, you know, they don't want it to look too bad. But there's certain things that they're obligated by law and to the investors. They have to say. They can't get around hiding numbers. So that's where you're going to see. And a lot of where you can figure the stuff out is like if you watch my third quarter video and then you go back and reference what's going on now, which, why isn't it showing you that video right now? Let me see. You can contrast and see what's going on. Disney never is going to tell you the truth of what's going on. All right, there's certain things that you're going to try to make it look better, or they're not going to give you all the details. Of course, they're going to do that because they don't want to look bad. But there's certain things they cannot get around, and that's certain financial numbers they have to report. So if you you can either go to where I'm showing you the reports are. Okay, for example, just a moment. For some reason, it's not switching. Let's try it this way. Okay, there's that. Let's see if it switches. There's a delay on my second laptop, so it takes a moment for me to confirm what's going on. Anyways, if you, after this report, you could go listen to their other report, or you could go watch my third quarter financial video, and you can compare. There you go. You can compare what's going on. So let's look back here. So they're talking about putting in everything into Disney Plus. What they're really saying is we're going to furlough a bunch of more people that we don't have to physically pay, like park attendants and cast members and restaurants and ushers and ticket booths and all that stuff. We're furloughing people at corporate. We're furloughing people all over the world because they've got world businesses, the cruises, the hotels. And this way we can have a small group that just works internally for Disney Plus. Also, just a few days ago, they announced that Disneyland, California, is closed indefinitely because they can't work out an agreement with California. So they're going to be closed indefinitely. Now, will Disneyland eventually reopening? Probably. I would assume so. But as of right now, they're shut down. Disney World, Florida is still open, although at very low numbers. Hey, D, good to see you. Hey, D, now that you're here, I want to address something real quick. Just a moment. Because I like to be fair and I like to be correct. Not correct like I have to be right. I like to, you know, posterity. I want to say the right things. So just one moment. Where did this go? Oh, okay. almost there. Just a second. Since we have a few minutes to waste. Okay, you should see George Lucas here. Let me see. Yes, you should be seeing that. Okay, so when you're live streaming, you're thinking about a million things. You're talking, you're thinking about the mechanics of what you're doing, how you're sharing stuff, and that's funny. And as you saw yesterday, that stream was almost 6 hours. I had a ton of information in my head, and I was thinking about Talon and Darth Maul and all the connections and all that stuff. It was a lot of stuff. If you watch the stream, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so yesterday, I showed this picture, and I was talking about how it's from A New Hope. And D, you said, oh, that looks like the Nubian ramp from The Phantom Menace. And I said, no, this is Star Wars. This is A New Hope. Okay. That was because my mind was like in 6 places at once. I was so focused on the shirt and the article and what I was talking about that this is the quote, the shirt. The shirt itself wasn't from A New Hope, but that quote, right? This is from A New Hope. When A New Hope came out, some idiot journalist wrote that Star Wars is a bad movie. And he's like the biggest idiot in all of journalism. Okay. But this picture is, yes, the Phantom Menace. You can tell mostly because of George's hair, and he's also his gray beard. I just was so focused on the article, right? I was thinking about the quote that I said it was A New Hope. But this is indeed, and I believe you are correct, that is the ramp of the Nubian. It must be. So yeah, I just wanted for posterity to say that because, I goofed. I guess you could say I was, just so distracted or thinking about other stuff and focused on this, the quote. But this is in fact the Phantom Menace era, because this is later on, and he's wearing that shirt, which is funny that, right, George Lucas is wearing that shirt. I think it's golden. It's amazing. So yeah, that's the Phantom Menace. Okay. So for anybody that may have just come in, DZ, the picture was a guy in 77 wrote an article after Star Wars came out. He said there was terrible acting and a ridiculous dialogue, and it was just stupid, and it was a bad movie. And obviously he felt like a fool because it was the biggest grossing film of all time and completely changed the world, never mind Hollywood and filmmaking. Yeah, no worries, D. The thing is, I often, like, the next day will look back and watch at least a clip of my stream, and I do that just because that's how you learn and how you catch things, and you see how what you did, how you look, whatever. And I saw that came up, and I was like, oh yeah, that I meant to say that was the picture was Phantom Menace, but oh well, it happens. I think at the end of the day, you knew what I meant. So if anybody that just came in like D, there's a few things happening. You got Pedro Pascal, who put out a picture saying, the Trump supporters are losers, which is okay. That's fine. Whatever he feels. I don't care either way. But when half the country, 70 plus million people voted for Trump, you're now alienating, potentially 70 plus million people from Star Wars, you dumbass. And Disney can't afford that right now. Mandalorian cannot afford that right now. So you've got that. You've got today is the 1 year anniversary of Disney Plus. A lot of people had free memberships of Disney Plus through Verizon. So today, a lot of people won't be renewing their membership, especially with the way that Disney talks to people, the way that the Mandalorian is declining, the show is declining, and Disney's overall practices and furloughs. And obviously, if you worked at Disney Park, or your cousin or your son or someone worked at Disney Plus or Disney Park, and they got furloughed, and meanwhile Bob Iger and Bob Paycheck are making millions of dollars, you're not going to support Disney. Obviously, right? If your son just got furloughed from the parks because of their responsibility and treatment of fans and customers, then you're obviously not going to be paying for Disney Plus, right? So you're alienating and you have damaged a lot of people. 70 equals million Disney customers. Exactly. Whether you like Trump or not. Michael Jordan has a very famous quote from back in the day. Republicans buy sneakers too. And that's a big reason why he never got political or too vocal about stuff. He just shut his mouth, played his game, and let people like him or not. But he didn't get, on sides, and he didn't get people angry at him. And, some people that bothers, like, you need to make a stand. But when you're smart and when you're in business, you shut the fuck up. Okay? And Pedro Pascal, John Favreau, just the other day, too, was spouting off about, Biden won and you all need to get over it and blah, blah, blah. Dude, shut up. Shut up. You are the one thing that's hanging on right now, and you're going to get 70 million people pissed at you. Don't do it. Why? So that you can look tough? Stupid. Bob the Bobs before they bob you. Ha, yes. So you've got Pedro's dumb comments. You've got Disney acting crazy. You've got all these furloughs. Last report, they furloughed 100,000 employees. Just a few weeks ago, like a month ago, they let off another 28,000. Then, like about a week ago, a few days ago, they let off another, I think it was another 1,000 employees. So you got all that. You've got people that aren't going to renew today because of the new one, because a lot of people just had it for free. So they're not interested in paying for it in the first place. They just use it because they had it for free. And then two, with the behavior of Disney, they're definitely not going to re-up. So today they're going to lose a lot of millions of subscribers. And I also was touching on this, which hopefully will switch the screen and you'll see, is that India created on the 11th, created a new broadcasting ministry to regulate streaming services and online content. So again, Disney in India is under Hotstar. Hotstar is Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. So they now have created a commission to strongly regulate with new rules. Here it is, the new rules. And if you want, you could see the PDF here of what is going to be streaming in India. Now, Disney in general is like a family brand, right? So you would say, well, they're not porn, they're not violent, so it shouldn't really be a problem, people want Disney in India, fine. But like I mentioned, if people in India are aware of that Disney filmed Mulan in Chinese slave camps, they might limit some of Disney Plus's activity. India is one of the biggest internet markets in the world. So they see a lot of the same news we see. We see the behavior of Disney and its employees. So India could get a hair up their ass and say, maybe we don't want Disney Plus to be in so many homes. Maybe we're going to limit it. Or maybe we're going to just ban it all outright. Now, I'm sure they won't ban it because, it brings in revenue and it brings in entertainment to India and et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure a lot of people want it. But just saying that they have created a new commission to, and it's not just Disney, here, they even talk about Netflix, Amazon Prime, all the streaming services now are under a ministry of information and broadcasting in India, and they're going to be monitored and they could be controlled. Okay. So, and, India's not a communism or a dictatorship, but it's not the land of free and brave like the United States either. So if they don't like something, they could just, ban a movie or ban Disney Plus all outright. Has anyone done any studies on the decline in business that support Disney's via food, textiles, etc.? There are documentaries, and I'm not sure if you're talking about the same thing, but there's quite a few documentaries on YouTube where people go to like India and Thailand and stuff like that. And so some of you know, because you may not know this, Disney, like their Mickey Mouse dolls and t-shirts and stuff are made in like some poor village in like Thailand or Taiwan. Okay. And these people are making like 3 cents a shirt or a day. And they're making all these Disney products for them. All right. A lot of those Disney products are made in China. They're not made in Wisconsin. So some of you may not be aware, but Disney's known for very bad practices of basically child slave labor making their products, their dolls, their toys, their shirts, their clothing. So I'm not sure if that's exactly the line you were talking about, but that is an issue. And there's people that have studied it and talked about it. There's videos on YouTube. If you start to dig around, you'll find that kind of stuff. So they're talking about censorship and some other stuff. But anyways, just, you know, this is something that does not help Disney's cause, is that India now has a commission that's going to be regulating streaming services. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think that's good for India, and it does pertain to all the streaming services, but just know that that's a reality. All right, 426. So they should be starting here soon. By the way, the link to this is at the very bottom of the description. If anybody wants to go here, is the Walt Disney Company and then Investor Relations. And this is always the same. Well, this banner is obviously for today, but they'll always have the report here, the stock market. And by the way, you can see just crashing. Okay, especially today of all days. Here's the report, and I'm going to check here in a second if it's live. And you can always come down, and here's the other reports. You can see the PDF, you can see the numbers themselves. Usually this gets updated right after the webcast. So if it is there, I'll open it up and we'll look at the numbers and I'll discuss it. I'll help decipher it a little bit because it can be a little bit confusing. All right, let's see if they're going live here yet. Oh, look at that. Just a moment. Okay, here is the financial report, but let's see if the live, I think it is live. I'm gonna let me unshare and start again just to make sure you guys have the audio. As soon as I start, please confirm for me that you can hear it. And let's listen to what Disney has to say. I'll pause here and there if there's a key point, but I'll try to let it go through. And of course, if you guys have questions or comments. Hold on just a moment. I think I shared the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, if you guys could confirm for me that you hear it. Okay, what I hear is a little bit of background music. Oh, that just got loud and then low. Okay, is the volume okay? Is it too loud, too low? Yeah, it's a little bit loud on my earphones too. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. When they start talking, I'll try to adjust if it's too loud. They usually start right on time or right around time. It's just now 4:30, so just give them a minute. In the meantime, let's look at this. Make sure you guys can see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by, and welcome to Disney's fiscal full year and Q4 2020 earnings results conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. After the speaker presentation, there will be a question-and-answer session. To ask a question during the session, you will need to press star 1 on your telephone. Please be advised that today's conference is being recorded. If you require any further assistance, please press star 0. I would now like to hand the conference over to your speaker, Mr. Lowell Singer, Senior Vice President, Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Walt Disney Company's fourth quarter 2020 earnings call. Our press release was issued about 5 minutes ago and is available on our website at www.disney.com/investors. Today's call is also being webcast, and a transcript of this call will be available on our website. We realize many of you are joining us today from your homes, and we are also hosting today's call remotely. So joining me from their homes are Bob Chapek, Disney's Chief Executive Officer, and Christine McCarthy, Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. Following comments from Bob and Christine, we will of course be happy to take some questions. So with that, let me turn the call over to Bob to get started.
I believe January 1st.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we close out the fourth quarter, and
notice Bob Iger is not here again.
I think we'd all agree it's been a year unlike any other in our lifetimes.
This is the second time
in the history of
for like the past 15 years he was in every call. The past 2 calls he is not.
I'm proud to say we have been steadfast in effectively managing our businesses under enormously difficult circumstances. We haven't just persevered during these tough times. We've also taken a number of deliberate steps and smart risks that have positioned our company for greater long-term growth. And the impressive resilience Disney has demonstrated while looking past today's challenges to set the stage for an even brighter future is a direct reflection of our outstanding team. They've done and continue to do an admirable job balancing the needs of our cast, our shareholders, and our guests. Of course, the real bright spot amidst the pandemic has been our direct-to-consumer business. 1 year ago today, we launched Disney+, and it has quickly exceeded our highest expectations. We have since rolled out the service in more than 20 countries worldwide, and on Tuesday, we will launch in Latin America, including Brazil, Mexico, Chile, and Argentina, followed by more overseas markets in the coming year. The response from consumers has been overwhelmingly positive. Everywhere that we've launched Disney+, audiences have embraced the wide array of high-quality entertainment, both original and library content. And I'm pleased to report that as of the end of the fourth quarter, Disney+ had more than 73 million paid subscribers, far surpassing our expectations in just its first year. And we're continuing to see positive trends. During our Investor Day presentation on December 10th, we will provide an update of our global subscriber numbers. The growth of Disney+ speaks volumes about the strength of our IP, our unparalleled brands and franchises, and our amazing content creators, all part of the Disney difference that sets us apart from everyone else. And when you look across our full suite of streaming services, we have exceeded 120 million paid subscriptions worldwide, with impressive subscriber gains for ESPN Plus and Hulu, including the rapidly growing Hulu Plus Live TV. We expect the international launch of our Star-branded general entertainment offering will enable us to grow our business even further in the years ahead. Given that our DTC business is key to the future growth of our company, we've restructured our media and entertainment businesses.
Okay, real quick. Disney Plus has now gained 13 million subscribers since the last quarter report. Not that much, not that great. And that 100 and some number that he said was, again, Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus. Now, he's about to talk about what I just said, how they're restructuring everything to focus just on Disney Plus.
By separating content creation from distribution, we've been able to streamline our processes and better align the organization towards these important strategic objectives as we accelerate our pivot to a DTC-first business model. We intend to build upon the success we've achieved thus far and look forward to sharing more of our plans with you at our upcoming Investor Day. While the pandemic continues to impact our company, resulting in an adjusted loss of 20 cents a share in the fourth quarter, the prolonged situation has prompted us to find new and innovative ways to deal with the difficult and often unpredictable challenges we're facing. We successfully made adjustments and have resumed many of our operations, clearly demonstrating the resiliency the Walt Disney Company is known for. While many of our productions were shut down beginning in March due to COVID, our animation teams were able to work remotely and have continued production uninterrupted during the pandemic. We were also fortunate to keep other parts of our creative pipeline active and to continue post-production work for our media networks, studios, and Disney+. We've been able to develop processes and institute health and safety measures that have made it possible to resume live action production as well. Of course, the unpredictability of COVID may result in unforeseen impacts to current and future productions. On the studio side, we have restarted or completed production on all of the projects previously impacted by COVID, including ones from our Marvel Studios, 20th Century Studios, Searchlight Pictures, Disney Live Action, and Lucasfilm. And we anticipate having 8 new projects up and running by January. On the TV side, we now have more than 100 live action, scripted and unscripted projects in active production, with dozens more in various stages of pre or post-production. Across all platforms, there's been a great response to our content. A couple of weeks ago, we rolled out the highly anticipated second season of The Mandalorian to rave reviews and incredible social buzz. There's been much excitement surrounding the announcement that Disney Pixar's Soul will be debuting on Disney Plus on Christmas Day. And on the broadcasting side, ABC is now ranked #1, delivering some of the most popular and most watched shows on television, including Dancing with the Stars and The Conners. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge our incredible local and national ABC News teams for the outstanding work they continue to do under very difficult circumstances. They've been working around the clock, making sure viewers nationwide have access to the most important and accurate information, particularly as it pertains to the COVID pandemic. And they've also done an outstanding job reporting on the election in an informative and balanced way. From Good Morning America holding its spot as the #1 morning newscast for the 8th straight year, to World News Tonight with David Muir consistently ranking as the #1 evening newscast, as well as the #1 program on all broadcast and cable television in the U.S. over the summer. There's no question ABC News is America's #1 news source. On the park side, we've proven over many months that we're able to operate our parks responsibly, following strictly enforced guidelines provided by healthcare experts, successfully reopening our parks in Orlando, Shanghai, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. We've also reopened Disneyland Paris for several months, although the resort is now temporarily closed due to President Macron's recent lockdown order in response to a resurgence in COVID cases in Europe. People have shown a willingness to visit our parks, which I believe is a testament to the fact that they feel confident in the measures we've taken. And we are very encouraged by the positive news earlier this week on the progress of potential vaccines. Unfortunately, we are extremely disappointed that the state of California continues to keep Disneyland closed, despite our proven track record. Our health and safety protocols are all science-based and have the support of labor unions representing 99% of our hourly cast members. Frankly, as we and other civic leaders have stated before, we believe state leadership should look objectively at what we've achieved successfully at our parks around the world, all based on science, as opposed to setting an arbitrary standard that is precluding our cast members from getting back to work while decimating small businesses in the local community. Our ability to operate responsibly in this pandemic environment extends beyond our theme parks. I'm proud to say that we were successfully able to host the NBA and MLS at Walt Disney World in Orlando. It's been a huge undertaking and a great achievement. Just consider the NBA, for example, 94 days, 22 teams, 172 games, players, broadcast partners, referees, media, support staff, and Disney employees, all in the bubble. It was also a big win for ESPN, which broadcast the games, along with a packed schedule of other sports offerings, including the WNBA, college football, Major League Baseball, and the NFL. As you look at the most watched cable shows on TV this year, more than half have been live sports, proving that sports are a powerful draw, despite the disruption of the pandemic. ESPN Digital and ESPN Plus have also performed exceptionally well, with September being the best month ever for ESPN streaming video. ESPN Plus continues its positive subscriber growth, reaching more than 10 million paid subscribers as of the end of the quarter, nearly tripling in size over the past year. As you can see, even during these most uncertain times, here at the Walt Disney Company, we are finding ways to not only operate our businesses effectively, but also take the necessary bold steps for our future growth. And we are more committed than ever to investing in our businesses, in particular our DTC strategy, which we see as the key driver of significant long-term value for our company. We look forward to sharing details of our plans with you at our Investor Day next month. We also can't wait for you to see the extraordinary content that's being created for our full portfolio of streaming services, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Star. It's just fantastic. And with that, I'll turn it over to Christine.
Thanks, Bob, and good afternoon, everyone. Excluding certain items affecting comparability,
Here's where we'll get some numbers.
Quarter's diluted earnings per share was a loss of 20 cents, and our full year fiscal 2020 diluted EPS was $2.02. Our financial results continued to reflect significant impacts from COVID-19, which we estimate adversely impacted segment operating income in Q4 by $3.1 billion. Our Parks, Experiences, and Products segment was again the most severely affected, with an estimated adverse impact of $2.4 billion in the fourth quarter. We estimate that Media Networks operating income was negatively impacted by approximately $500 million due to COVID, largely due to higher rights costs at ESPN associated with programming in the fourth quarter that was delayed from prior quarters. Another factor that affected our Q4 results was the 53rd week. While last quarter we guided to the 53rd week having a modest adverse impact on operating results, the additional week of operations actually resulted in a benefit. There were a few reasons behind this variance, but the largest driver was related to the timing of sports rights costs. I'll now turn to our results by segment. At Parks, Experiences, and Products, financial results in the quarter were significantly impacted by restricted capacity and closures. Operating income at Parks, Experiences, and Products declined significantly versus the prior year to an operating loss of $1.1 billion. This reflects the closures of Disneyland Resort in California and our cruise line business for the entirety of the quarter. Shanghai Disney Resort was open for the full quarter after reopening in May, while Walt Disney World Resort and Disneyland Paris reopened in mid-July. Hong Kong Disneyland Resort was open for a couple of weeks at the beginning and end of the quarter. All of our reopened parks and resorts were operating at significantly reduced capacities during Q4. However, we are pleased to report that Walt Disney World, Shanghai Disney Resort, and Hong Kong Disneyland all achieved a net positive contribution in the quarter, which means we generated revenue that exceeded the variable costs associated with reopening. At Walt Disney World, we are also encouraged by the booking trends we are seeing. Park reservations at our reduced capacity limits are already 77% booked for Q1, with Thanksgiving week booked close to capacity. These trends provide us with further confidence around underlying consumer demand for our parks and experiences. At Studio Entertainment, operating income decreased in the quarter due to lower theatrical distribution and home entertainment results. Worldwide theatrical results continued to be adversely impacted by COVID-19 as theaters were closed in many key markets, both domestically and internationally. With no significant worldwide theatrical releases in the quarter, we faced a difficult comparison against the strong performance of The Lion King and Toy Story 4 in the prior year quarter. The decrease was partially offset by lower marketing expenses. Lower home entertainment.
But what about The Rise of Skywalker? Why didn't you mention that?
Results were driven by lower unit sales, also partially offset by lower marketing expenses. Unit sales were lower in the quarter as there were no comparable releases versus the prior year performance of Avengers Endgame, Aladdin, and Captain Marvel. Turning to media networks, operating income was up in the fourth quarter due to higher results at broadcasting, partially offset by lower results at cable networks. At broadcasting, the increase in operating income was primarily due to affiliate revenue growth and lower programming, production, and marketing costs. The decrease in programming and production costs was largely driven by COVID-19 related production shutdowns and cancellations of network programming, the shift of college football games to fiscal 2021, and a delay in airing new season premieres. Lower results at cable networks were driven by decreases at ESPN, partially offset by increases at FX networks and the domestic Disney channels. ESPN results were lower as affiliate and advertising revenue growth were more than offset by higher programming and production costs. At ESPN, higher programming and production costs were largely due to COVID-related shifts of rights costs for the NBA and Major League Baseball into the fourth quarter. This included 2 NBA Finals games and 16 MLB postseason games that fell into the 53rd week. Total ESPN advertising revenue was up 26% in the fourth quarter, including the benefit of the 53rd week. The return of live sports events drove higher rates, slightly offset by viewership declines. So far this quarter, ESPN's domestic linear cash ad sales are pacing below the prior year, primarily due to shifts in college football schedules, particularly for the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Given the timing of programming remaining in the quarter, we currently expect that ESPN advertising revenue will end the first quarter higher versus the prior year. Total Media Networks affiliate revenue increased 12% in the quarter. This was driven by a benefit of 8 points from the 53rd week and 8 points of growth from higher rates, offset by a 4-point decline due to a decrease in subscribers. The decrease in subscribers benefited by about 2 points from the launch of the ACC network. At Direct-to-Consumer and International, an operating loss of $580 million in the quarter was an improvement of approximately $170 million compared to the prior year. This improvement was driven by higher results at Hulu and ESPN+, partially offset by costs associated with the ongoing rollout of Disney+ and a decrease at our international channels. At Hulu, the improvement was primarily due to both subscriber and advertising revenue growth, partially offset by higher programming and production costs. The improvement at ESPN+ was due to subscriber growth as well as increased pay-per-view income from UFC events. Hulu ended the fourth quarter with 36.6 million paid subscribers, and ESPN+ ended the quarter with 10.3 million paid subscribers. Disney Plus ended Q4 with 73.7 million paid subscribers, or an increase of over 16 million subscribers versus Q3. Disney Plus Hotstar subscriber additions were the largest contributor.
Okay, that's incorrect, because I made a video about the third quarter. The third quarter, they had 60 million Disney Plus subscribers, so they got 13 million, not 16 million. Also, they're lying about the NBA, because we all know, if you've been watching TV or the news or anything, that the NBA numbers and NFL numbers are way down. They have declined tremendously. And I also want to remind you that they totally did not mention the Rise of Skywalker. All right, they talked about Captain Marvel, Avengers, Lion King, but they sure walked right over the Rise of Skywalker, didn't they?
Two results came in better than that guidance, with operating income at our DTC businesses improving by approximately $300 million versus the prior year, due to better than expected performance across all three of our streaming services. I will note that we do not plan to further update any of our subscriber numbers until our Investor Day on December 10th. At our international channels, lower results were due to lower affiliate and advertising revenues, partially offset by a decrease in costs. Switching gears, I want to take a moment to give you an update on our 21CF acquisition. We've previously stated our expectation that the deal would be accretive to EPS, excluding the impact of purchase accounting for fiscal 2021. While COVID certainly had an impact on these numbers, we estimate the acquisition of 21CF and the impact of taking full operational control of Hulu were accretive in both Q3 and Q4 of fiscal 2020, excluding the impact of purchase accounting. As a practical matter, given our recent reorganization and the successful and complete integration of these assets into the Walt Disney Company, it is no longer practical, nor do we believe it would be insightful into our businesses to break out 21CF performance. Therefore, we do not intend to discuss legacy Fox results or accretion on a go-forward basis. As we've discussed on prior calls, while our liquidity position remains strong, we are continuing to manage our leverage.
You heard her. They're not going to want to talk about the Fox numbers.
With a long-term commitment to return to levels consistent with a single-A credit rating. As part of that commitment, and given limited visibility due to COVID and our decision to prioritize investment in our DTC initiatives, the board has decided to forego payment of a semi-annual dividend in January 2021. Our capital allocation strategy.
The board has decided to forego a dividend payment in January 2021.
Will continue to prioritize investing in the growth of our businesses, particularly in the direct-to-consumer space. However, we anticipate the payment of a dividend will remain a part of our long-term capital allocation strategy following the return to a normalized operating environment.
Don't worry, in about 5 years when we're back to normal, you'll get your dividends.
As we look forward, we expect that our results in fiscal 2021 will continue to be impacted by COVID-19. Our visibility is limited and will be influenced by a number of factors, including but not limited to the recovery of theatrical exhibition, confidence in consumer travel, and the continued resumption of live sports. But as we sit here today, there are a few items we would like to highlight that may help frame expectations for the first quarter.
That's probably exactly what they will do, Dee, is they'll, Disney, like many corporations, but Disney's famous for this, they like to inch you into things. Okay, so they'll be like, well, we're not going to pay dividends or report on stuff until January. Then January will come, and then they'll be like, well, we'll do it in the, third quarter report. And then, that'll go by. And then like a year will go by. And then they'll just like kind of forget about it and not talk about it and hope people forget about it. So
are parks inexplicably lower year over year. Similarly, at Consumer Products, we expect merchandise licensing results in Q1 to be adversely impacted due to comparisons versus Star Wars and Frozen merchandise in the prior year. At ESPN, first quarter results will be significantly impacted by higher rights and production costs due to the shift of 4 NBA Finals games and 3 additional college football playoff games into the quarter, along with incremental regular season college football rights costs shifting into the quarter. This impact is partially offset by an expected delayed start to the 2020-2021 NBA season. We expect the Q1 operating results of our DTC businesses to decline by approximately $100 million relative to the prior year quarter.
Okay, so they're already predicting a decline in quarter 1, 2021 of $100 million in Disney Plus. Now, 5 minutes ago, you heard Chapek saying this miraculous, we're doing amazing, Disney Plus is doing great. And yet they're telling you already we're going to suffer a loss in first quarter. See how the Disney twists things?
Driven by continued investment in Disney Plus, partially offset by improved results at both ESPN Plus.
By the way, Agent Abe, I think I said D. I meant to say that it was you, Agent Abe. Yes, they probably will forego the dividend for permanently.
And Hulu. Expect CapEx.
Just wanted to acknowledge that it was you and that I saw that.
In fiscal year 2021 to be $550 million higher versus fiscal year 2020 due to increased investment at our media and entertainment distribution businesses and at corporate, partially offset.
Okay, there they go twisting stuff again. I showed you that they're going to put all their eggs into the streaming basket. They have furloughed about 200,000 employees since the last quarter report. So they are saving money because they're letting employees go. Parks are closed. See, this is the thing. When the parks are closed, yeah, they're losing money because they don't have income. But they're also saving money because they don't have to maintain the park open. The restaurants, the electricity, the water, all this stuff, okay? So they're cutting all these costs and letting people go, but yet they're saying we have to put further investment and that's why we're going to lose money. No, you're lying. The reason you're losing money is because you're losing money. It has nothing to do because you're cutting costs left and right.
By reduced spending at parks, experiences, and
Okay, thanks, Christine. And as we do transition to the Q&A, let me note that since we are not physically together this afternoon, I will do my best to moderate this by directing your questions to the appropriate executive. And with that, operator, we are ready for the first.
No mention of Loki or any of the Marvel content they supposedly have. They didn't even touch on Mulan, okay, because we know the disaster they had there. They totally walked over the Rise of Skywalker and the Mandalorian. He mentioned the Mandalorian saying, oh, that's great, but they didn't give us any numbers or subscribers or anything. He's not giving any true information about the Mandalorian or Star Wars or the Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker just doesn't even exist. Oh, man, they're in trouble.
First question.
Franchises. And I just wonder now with the reorganization and the new game plan at DTC.
They also didn't mention Black Widow at all.
You know, how will kind of the quality of the franchises and the content output be managed as is increased, right? So it looks like it's a change in terms of the output of the organization. Just want to hear about the quality management of that. Thanks, Lou.
Okay, Michael, thanks. I'm going to turn both of those over to Bob.
All right,
Okay.
Thank you, Mo. Hi, Michael. In terms of ESPN and
Yes, no Star Wars stuff. No Cassian Andor, no Obi-Wan, none of this stuff that they've been blah, 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 Boba Fett and all this nonsense rumors that are going around. They're not doing any of it because, like I said in the beginning, guys, everything's closed. They are not producing anything. They're trying to make you believe that. And he said, we've got 8 new shows coming. Yeah, right.
and the cost cuts, we are obviously watching our costs across all of our operating units very carefully in light of the adversity that we're facing with the pandemic. But long term, you know, as we look at our content's right needs, we're looking at it from a shareholder standpoint. If it's accretive to shareholder value, then there are decisions that we make going forward in terms of looking at new rights as they expire and what we want to put onto our service. So we're being very deliberate and we're being very careful and analyzing everything to make sure that it would be something that would be additive to us. And I might say that we've got, you know, very good relationships with all the leagues, and it's important. We continue to believe in sports. Matter of fact, in 2019, 93 of the top 100 programs in viewership on television were sports. And as you know, we've got the most trusted brand out there in the world in terms of sports. So we believe that's a nice recipe for future success. But we realize that the world is changing and there's a lot of dynamics at play. But we'll only do continued rights deals as long as they add shareholder value. In terms of the second question, in terms of the looking at the number of films and the amount of content that we put into the system, you're right. Over time, we've been very, very discriminate in terms of what types of films we make and how many we make, and I think that's really benefited the company. We're in a world, though, now in a subscription business where we're managing churn, and we've got a unique combination of assets in this company that are all at play right now in Disney Plus, where we've not only got the most desirable library in the world, but we realize, and that really helps, by the way, minimize churn, but we also realize that new content that we put adds subscribers. It's very clear to us that new content adds subscribers. So I think you'll see a continued increase in investment in our direct-to-consumer platforms, and that will then fuel some of the growth that Christine will talk about at the investor conference.
So Bob, please enlighten us. What is all this new content that you have? Because you're failing to tell us.
We expect on December 10th.
Just trust us. We've got stuff coming, guys.
A PVOD, but Soul's going directly to Disney Plus, for example. So any thoughts there? And then my second just follow-up question is really on the parks. You've made some real improvement in cutting your losses this quarter from the last quarter. I guess, is it feasible to assume you can...
Yes, furloughing 200,000 employees. That's a real improvement on cutting costs.
Continue to see further improvement in that segment without Disneyland opening. Thank you.
Alexia, thanks so much. So Bob, I'll turn them both over to you, Mulan and Soul, and then some of the trends we're seeing at parks.
Okay, great. So from a studio content standpoint, we were very pleased with the results of Mulan as a Premier Access title. And as you remember, that was our very first foray into a strategy like Premier Access. Unfortunately, that title met with some controversy, both in the US and internationally, shortly after we released it. But we saw enough very positive results before that controversy started to know that we've got something here in terms of the Premier.
I can't believe you even acknowledged that. Wow, that's amazing. But I want to hear some hard numbers, Bob.
Access strategy. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that at the investor conference in December. In terms of Soul.
Okay, so they're pushing a lot of this stuff, as you can hear, to December. I think they said 10th. Now, I want to remind everyone, during the third quarter report, they were supposed to have a investor conference coming up like the next month, and it never happened. They didn't even talk about it. They just kind of like stepped over and pretended like it never existed. So we'll see if they actually do this one. But the last one, they just totally didn't even do it.
We also realize, though, that, you know, part of the lifeblood of the world are
some controversy. Yes, I think you're being funny. I think you know what happened.
Becoming much more efficient and effective in operating under COVID guidelines, and we've been able to pretty materially increase our capacity and still stay within the guidelines that local governments are giving us. For example, 6-foot social distancing, and this is happening across the across our parks across the world. In fact, Walt Disney World, which was at a 25% capacity constraint, which was our industrial engineering estimate to keep 6-foot social distancing, now has been able to increase to 35% of capacity. So almost a 50% increase in the number of guests that we can allow in and still adhere to the local guidelines and the guidelines that are stipulated by the CDC with the 6-foot social distancing. So we're very pleased by how we've become adept at operating under these constraints. But the second thing that's even more encouraging is the demand that's growing for our parks across the world. I think it says two different things. Number one, shows the love that guests have for our experiences that we have within our parks and the tremendous IP that we have as a company have. But I also think it speaks to the trust that people have, given the track record that we now have after months of operating across the globe with very stringent guidelines. And we're very pleased of our track record. And I think people are now through forward bookings and reservations showing some very encouraging signs about their willingness to come and spend time with us at a Disney park.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to mention something real quick. Disneyland, California is completely shut down. It has been for about a month because the governor of California and the state of California is not allowing them to open. So they're totally shut down and losing tons of money. Disney World, Florida is open. Why is that happening? One, because, you know, the state is different and they do things differently. But for you guys that don't know this, Disney World, Florida is a sovereign state. I actually have video of this. I just need to finish editing and put it out. But it is a sovereign state that Disney company, I believe it was in the 50s. I have to look back at the exact date. And you can research this yourself. They purchased, it was something like, I want to say 80 acres in the state of Florida. That property is a sovereign state. It is not part of the U.S. nor Florida Constitution. It is its own sovereign state. The same with Washington, D.C. It's the same thing. It's not part of the United States. For you, those of you that don't know this, D.C. is not a state or a part of the United States. It's its own sovereign state. Disney World, the property of Disney World, that area, I forget the name of the park, but something River Park, is its own, has its own police, its own fire station, its own governing body, and all of that. So part of why Disney World Florida is still open is because the state of Florida has no power to close them down anyways. For those of you that don't know this, you can look this up. You can research this. It is a sovereign state that does what it does on its own, independent of Florida and the United States of America.
Locally impacted, but throughout the entire company. So we'll continue to drive towards greater efficiencies. And when you asked about how much do we incur in the restructuring charges related to Fox. Overall, Fox restructuring charges were $1.7 billion, and $1.2 billion of that was incurred in fiscal 19. So 500 was done this year. And in this quarter, where we had about a little under 400 million of restructuring charges, a portion of that was also Fox related. It comes out to about a little less than 30%. So the balance was.
They owe somewhere in the ballpark of 30, I think it's $50 million still. Sorry, $1 billion for Fox. And you can hear her talking about how they're having losses for Fox.
Related to our cuts at reductions in force at parks.
Got it.
And in terms of the question on the reorganization, I would suggest that maybe given everything that's happening in the world, this is the perfect time for us to do such a reorganization. And I'm 100% confident that this is going to play out exactly as we had intended.
It's the only option you have, Bob. Everything's closed. You know it. Stop wording it like, well, we're making an intelligent decision. You have no choice. Everything is closed.
It's going extremely well. And despite the disruption in everyone's roles, I think we have 100%.
No, Abe, I think you got from what I said a minute ago, but Disneyland is closed.
Buy-in. I think we have 100% without maybe too much unnecessary regard for legacy distribution platforms, but at the same time, our creatives, who, as you know, are the best in the world, are really free to do what they do, and that's just make the best content and storytelling possible. A lot of collaboration between the two groups, but ultimately some level of independence in terms of each being what they can be and doing their jobs best.
Thank you.
Okay, Ben, thank you. Operator, next question, please.
Our next question will come from Jessica Reif-Ehrlich with Bank of America Securities. Please go ahead.
No, thank you. I have two questions as well. Could you comment on the change of management at the store? Does that affect your strategy in India or outside with the rollout of the Star branded service? And then secondly, sorry to be negative, but the sports viewing decline, I mean, there's just so much going on, and I wonder if you could give us your thoughts. You know, there was no fans in the stadium, so it changed the viewing experience. The calendars changed. There's a lot of sports in a short period of time. Do you have any concerns about, you know, how this will impact consumer behavior post-COVID? I'd love your thoughts on kind of the longer-term outlook for sports.
Okay, Jessica, thanks. I am going to turn both of those questions over to Bob.
Okay, I'm going to take the last one first. In terms of sports ratings, you know, sports ratings, we feel that in context of everything that's happening are actually holding up quite well. But we would be careful not to draw any conclusions about the ultimate health of sports, sort of the long-term impact that you suggested during this pandemic.
No, they're not. Everybody knows the NFL and NBA ratings are way down, way down.
We really think that we're sort of looking at apples and oranges here. I think the best comp we probably have is the NFL, which has been relatively flat. Our Monday Night Football viewership has been down 4%, relatively modest, despite all the headwinds. I mean, we've got the risk of seasons not finishing. To your point, we don't have fans in the stands. We have the risk of games individually every week being canceled. We have election news as competition. You know, we really can't have our fans doing what they like to do the best, which is watch in a communal setting.
See how they twist and contradict themselves? One second he's saying sports is doing great. Then the next second he's saying things are canceled, the election, these excuses why it's not.
Pretty much are watching by themselves. Despite all those headwinds, the fact that, you know, our Monday Night Football business is relatively flat in terms of viewership is really, I think, really encouraging. And if you adjust, if you will, viewership over the last couple of months for the amount of available content, you see that they kind of slide together. So we actually don't have any concerns about the long-term health of sports. Obviously, we've got some headwinds as it pertains to short-term challenges and hurdles, but we think that all in all, in context, the health of sports is, you know, pretty decent given everything that's going on. In terms of India, obviously, we have an executive there, Uday Shankar, who we love, and we wish him well. He gave us some indication several months ago that he was thinking of moving on. We've got a really deep bench there, and we feel that we have all kinds of opportunities and a lot of success so far with Disney Plus, and we have no reason to believe that that success won't continue and even accelerate going forward.
Thank you.
Jessica, thank you. Operator, next question, please.
Our next question will come from Doug Mitchelson with Credit Suisse. Please go ahead.
Oh, thanks so much. Lowell, I got two quick ones and then a main question. The quick ones are the math on India. I think if I have it right, based on Christine's comment, around $5.30, you're around 11 million subs, which would be about 2.5 million added in the quarter. I just wanted to make sure that was in the ballpark, and I was looking for an update on the cruise ships that were on order. The main question is, having re-upped some Disney Plus distribution deals, what changes are you seeing now, now that you're out of the uncertain launch phase and the value on both sides is better defined for you and for the distributor? Does the economics of those deals change, or should we think about the cost of that marketing channel as locked in? And I also ask because as you add more and more original content to your streaming services, I would think the benefit starts to shift in favor of the distributors, as you add more and more value to those services. So that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll let Christine sort of quickly address your India question, and then I'll turn over the cruise and the Disney Plus questions to Bob.
Okay. Hi, Doug. We're not the comments that I gave on the Hotstar Disney Plus India subs, we just don't comment on those economics. So unfortunately, we can't give you any more detail on that.
Why aren't you being transparent, Disney? Why won't you tell your numbers? Because we know they're very bad. If they were great, if they were booming, if they were making tons of money for the investors, they would be out here boasting about it. They'd be saying, we just made you $43 billion. And they're not. They're hiding it.
And in terms of cruise ships, demand is very, very strong for our cruise ships. We're seeing extremely strong demand in the back half of fiscal year 21 and all of 22 in terms of bookings. That said, that then creates
in the back end of 21, a year from now, and into 22. The guy asked, I want to know how the cruise ships are doing now. And he said, well, in the end of next year, it looks like we're going to look good.
The demand for the new ships that you asked about. And right now, we're anticipating delivering our first new ship, the Wish, in summer of 22. And then we have our next two ships in 24 and 25.
Okay, so there you go. They don't even have a ship, Nick, this year. They won't even have one till 22, and that's one ship. And then the further, two more in 24, if that happens.
And so after a slight delay of roughly 6 months on those ships, we think that we're going to be able to bring them onto service. We hope and expect that the world will be back to normal by then, and anticipate having a fine time trying to fill up the demand of those ships. And we think there's going to be so much pent-up demand that we don't expect to have much issues, given the love that our guests have for Disney Cruise Lines. In terms of the distribution deals and sort of the changing landscape over times with those, you know, we're really pleased with our partnerships to date. We try to limit them. We don't do too many, but we use them to strategically pursue growth of our subscriber base and lower subscriber acquisition costs. So as you know, we have one or two of these in each market. That's about it. But it really does help us sort of provide a base during our growth phase. And we've got full flexibility over time to either ramp those up or ramp those down as we see fit.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Operator, next question, please.
Our next question will come from Jason Bazinet with Citi. Please go ahead.
Just a question for Mr. Chapek. Can I go back to the reorg that you announced? You know, the more content it seems that you put on the DTC side, the lower your earnings will be, but the better the sub growth will be and the higher the stock price will be. And so as those decisions are being made today and next year and the year after, are there guardrails in place that sort of mean this will be a gradual transition? Or is it really, you know, whatever the right business decision is the right business decision and you'll do it, even if it means maybe different near-term financials in terms of profitability than the street's expecting? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the guardrails are good common sense as it pertains to managing cash. With our parks business sort of being, you know, having an anchor on it, if you will, that we can't, you know, properly operate our parks business like we'd like to. We have to be a little bit more careful today than, you know, we might have to be in the future. But I'm just going to suggest that when we talk to everybody on December 10th, I think you're going to see that we're going to put a lot of wind in the sails of our Disney Plus business and heavily invest in it. And so the guardrails are just the only ones that would be the constraints that we face today in terms of cash. Other than that, you know, everything is really full speed forward. And of course, you know, we've got our linear networks that we're managing. You know, we've made some reductions just this last week at ESPN as we manage the transition from linear to more of a digital experience and a direct-to-consumer experience. And so as we toggle that balance between sort of the legacy old media businesses to the new media businesses, we'll do it aggressively, but we will watch it from a cash standpoint in the meantime.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Jason, thank you. Operator, next question, please.
Our next question will come from John Hodulik with UBS. Please go ahead.
Great, thanks. Maybe just a quick few follow-ups to Jason's questions. Bob, in terms of the cash, you got $18 billion on the books. I guess can we expect a significant, like you said, a significant ramp in the content spend, and can we assume as a result of that the progress you guys have made in terms of D2C losses doesn't mean that those losses have peaked at this point? And then can you talk a little bit about content spend as it relates to entertainment program going into Disney Plus and Hulu and Star and ESPN Plus? ESPN Plus obviously has been there's some nice growth there. I'm getting up to 10 million subs. Do you expect to shift more of your portfolio from or simulcast it from linear to the D2C platform, or should we expect some investments in new rights? Thanks.
Okay, John, thanks for the questions. I'm going to let Christine take the first question around cash, and then Bob talk a little bit more about programming investment.
Great, thanks.
Hi, John, it's Christine. You're right that our cash and cash equivalents are a very healthy $18 billion. That's down from $23 billion the prior quarter.
Okay, I'm glad you just said that because I was about to say it. That means they're $5 billion down in cash. So while you might think, well, they've got $18 billion in cash, remember, 23 plus of that was loans. They're in debt for that. It's not their cash. And now they're $5 billion down more than they were the last quarter.
Just to put some context around the reduction
between our linear and our DTC business. First of all, Christine will talk about sort of the guidance at the investor conference, specifically in terms of have our losses peaked, which was your direct question. And though, additionally, we will be investing heavily. We'll talk again more about this at the investor conference, but we are going to continue to ramp up our investment in DTC.
Did you guys notice that Bob Chapek like jumped in and cut her off, and she was like, "Well, we're this much down," and she hesitated to even begin to answer the question, and then Bob jumped in and interrupted and took over the conversation. Oopsie.
And we will be heavily tilting the scale from linear networks over to our DTC business, as we see that, as we said in our opening comments, our primary catalyst for growth as a company. So again, we're going to talk a lot more about this on December 10th, but you will see a heavy tilt.
Okay, thank you.
John, thanks for the question. Operator.
Okay, so the guy asked about the distribution between parks and DTC, and they just walked right over it. Oh, December 10th, we'll talk about it. But he did just say we're going to be heavily putting into the streaming.
We have time for sports and sports content. And I'm curious how you think about expanding sports content availability to consumers that don't have a pay TV package. I think at this point there's...
Which, by the way, for those of you that may not know this, Disney traditionally, where they made money was the parks. It's not the movies, it's not the merchandise, it's not the cruise ships or any of this other stuff, and it certainly isn't Disney Plus. It was the parks that made them the big money. The parks are what fund the movies and everything else. Obviously, the parks have been shut down or messed up for months now, for like the past year. So Disney is losing billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. So no matter how much they want to invest or pump up Disney Plus, at the end of the day, that's not why Disney was successful. That was not why they made money or people loved the brand or they were able to do things. It was the parks. So not only can they not open the parks, but they're telling you in your face that we're disregarding the parks because we, one, are in such debt that we need to try to bring in money through Disney Plus. But we're also going past that. We're going to Disney Plus. So remember the ramifications of that. All the contracts that are lost, all the employees that are furloughed and out of work, taxes they need to pay. I mean, there's a lot involved. But at the end of the day, Disney was the parks. That's where they make their money, not the movies. Okay? The movies make, by the time you pay the marketing and pay back all the loans and catering and contracts and the actors' percentages and all this stuff. The movies don't make that much money, and they never did, and they never were what funded Disney. It was always the parks. So if the primary source of Disney for the past, since like 1924, well, the park came later, but let's say since like the 40s, has been the parks, and all the parks are closed, well, there you go. You see that they're in big trouble. And they keep saying how they're going to double down on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is not doing, you're not going to stay afloat with 70 million subscribers, guys. Sorry, it's not going to happen.
30 or 35 million households in the U.S. Great, thank you.
Okay, Mike, thank you. And thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. As Bob and Christine have mentioned, we are looking forward to sharing a lot more with you at our December 10th Investor Day, and we'll look forward to seeing a lot of you then. Note that a reconciliation of non-GAAP measures that were referred to on this call to equivalent GAAP measures can be found on our Investor Relations website. Let me also remind you that certain statements on this call, including financial estimates or statements about our plans, expectations, beliefs, or business prospects, may constitute forward-looking statements under the securities laws. We make these statements on the basis of our views and assumptions regarding future events and business performance at the time we make them, and we do not undertake any obligation to update these statements. Forward-looking statements are subject to a number of risks and uncertainties, and actual results may differ materially from the results expressed or implied in light of a variety of factors, including factors contained in our annual report on Form 10-K, quarterly reports on Form 10-Q, and in our other filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
It should end here.
Today's call. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's conference call. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.
Oh, thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Jeez. Okay. Let's look at the PDF. Now, just doing some quick math. 70 million subscribers by $7, which is the Disney Plus subscription. Give or take, they were like 73 million subscribers, and the subscription in some places is a little more, a little less. So we're going to do averages. 70 million subscribers by $7 a month is $490 million. They are over 40 billion in debt. So is that little $490 million going to keep Disney open? Especially when they're putting all their eggs into that basket, and that is the only income. So as you can see, Disney's in huge trouble. And they've all but said, listen, we're done with the parks. Now, I'm not saying that they're just giving up on the parks and they're never going to try to reopen them or get them back going. But for like the foreseen future, probably the next year, they know that those parks are done. They just said they're not even going to have a new cruise ship till 22. So hotels, out. Cruise lines, out. Parks, out. Movies, they don't have any movies. The only thing they got is Black Widow that they're sitting on, which they didn't talk about. There's no new movies being in production. We all know that. Everything's closed. So all they've got is Disney Plus, which is $490 million. Now, granted, that's monthly, but also remember that they didn't talk about what today is, what I started the stream with. Today is Disney Plus's anniversary. And all those free memberships, which was probably at least half, well, not everybody's going to resubscribe. So they didn't give today's numbers of saying, being transparent and saying, oh, well, today, you know, X amount of people re-upped their Disney Plus subscription. Of course, they're not going to say that because it's probably dismal. All right, let's look at this report. Blow it up so you guys can see. I was looking through it a little bit earlier, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but let's look at it real quick. Okay, so it's down. Continuing operations is down 39 cents. May not sound like much, but that in a bigger scale is a lot compared to 43 in the prior year quarter. Now, prior year, not last quarter. All right. So last year they were down 43, now they're 39. That may sound good. 0.4 or 0.04 of a difference, but sorry, 0.4 of a difference. Let's see. And of course, you know, it's all because of COVID. It's COVID. It's COVID. It's not our fault. It's all COVID, which, you know, nobody's denying that's factoring in. But your treatment of people, your lack of content, crappy content, filming movies in Chinese prison camps, you know, that's where that's coming from. All right, so you've got last year, and then here is the updated. Same thing with yearly. Here, this is the quarter. We're going to just look at the quarter. You can see the yearly here. So, revenues. Last year at this time, they were at 19 billion. Now it's 5 billion down. By the way, this is in billions. So if you see a comma, this is billion. If it's just 3 digits like here, this is 777 million. It can be confusing how this reads. So from last year, they're 5 billion down in this quarter. Income loss from continuing operations before income taxes. Okay. Now it's down 580 million from 1 billion too. But remember that they don't have operations costs because everything's closed and they're furloughing people. So obviously the cost is going to come down. And on the same token, the adverse operating income, as you can see, was 3.4 billion. Now it's 606 million. That's $3 billion down, guys. Oh boy. Okay, so you see that change. Is there? Okay, so you see the total segment operating income, a change of 82%. That's serious. 82% from last quarter. Cash provided by continuing operations. I kind of don't want to believe that. It's such a small change, 3%, but okay. Free cash flow. All right, so again, you have to look at this in perspective. They have more cash from last quarter, but they also took out like $30 billion in loans, so that they have more cash, but also they're spending less money because all of their stuff is shut down. So obviously you're going to have more cash, but this isn't like cash in my pocket. I do what I want with it. This is cash that you owe Disney. This is loan money. Oh boy. Okay. The main thing is here again, 82%. It was 3.4 billion last year at the same time, and now they're at 606 million. If you don't understand that, if you can't grasp like the huge problem that going from 3.5 billion to 600 million is, I don't know what to tell you. Media networks have made a little bit more. Well, yeah, because all your eggs are in that basket. Now, look at parks, experiences, and products. Last year, it was at almost 7 billion. This year, it's at 2.5 billion. All right, so you're looking at a little over a $4 billion change from last year at this time. Studio entertainment, all right, like the movies. Last year, 33 billion, 300 million. Now it's 1.5. So I guess The Rise of Skywalker didn't do that great after all, huh? And I guess it's not so surprising that they didn't talk about The Rise of Skywalker or Star Wars or Marvel or any of that. They did mention Endgame from last year and Captain Marvel, but are any new shows coming or anything coming? The only thing they said was, well, we have 8 new shows coming. Sure you do. So again, the media is up a little bit, but as you can see, the parks are down. As a matter of fact, 61% the parks are down. Studios, 52%. I mean, those are, you don't have to be a business person, a math person to understand. That's a problem, a huge problem. Total segment, operating income, not expense, not loss, income, 34, and now it's 606. 82%. This is obviously the cable network. You can see it's slightly up 5%, but you know, 5%, what are you going to do with that when you have 82% changes in the others? Everything is on cable right now, on TV, so streaming. Parks, experiences, and products revenues for the quarter decreased 61% to $2.6 billion, and segment operating results decreased $2.5 billion to a loss of $1.1 billion. Lower operating results for the quarter were due to increased both domestic and international, blah, 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 as a result of COVID. Okay, so Disney Plus is at 73.7, let's say 74 million subscribers. As I told you earlier, and I don't know why they're not showing it here, but they conveniently show you last year before it launched. All right, but just in the last report, it was 60 million. So they just picked up 13, we'll say 14 million subscribers in roughly 3-4 months. Now, to some people, that might sound like a lot. This is Disney. This is Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, and all they have is 13 million subscribers. Mandalorian and Disney Plus is now a year old, and they haven't even reached 100 million subscribers. It's not good. Look here, Hulu. Hulu did pick up about 7 million, but honestly, 7 million subscribers is not to a YouTube channel, to a small business. That's tremendous. To Disney, to ESPN, 7 million subscribers, that's like nothing. That's literally horrendous. Hulu, about 7 million change. Right? So, well, that's total Hulu. I guess they're not showing the total of all of it, but he said there were 103 or something like that million subscribers, which again is Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus combined. All right. Transactions, international. I don't want to go through every detail here. Content, I showed you the main numbers. And of course, you guys can look at this yourselves. Interest and expense. Interest expense. See, it's up 37%. So all their costs are going up and all the profits are going down. The costs that are coming down are because there's things that are closed and aren't generating income. But the things that they are keeping alive to generate income are going up in cost for them. Equity and income of investees. You can see it's down 19%. Decreased. Equity in the income of investees decreased 25 million due to higher equity losses at direct to consumer and international driven by investment impairments. Okay? All you need to know is 25 million down. That's what you need to know. Income tax, blah, blah, blah. And again, yeah, here they're paying less taxes, but they're also making much less money. So of course you're going to pay less taxes. Now, here again, this is where this kind of stuff throws you off, because you're looking and you're saying, free cash flow. Well, they have almost 3 times what they did last quarter or last year at this time. So you might say, look, here you go. 2486 is how much they've gone up. So some people might be like, but they're up, they have cash. Well, that's because last year at this time, they didn't have 23+ billion of cash loan. Here they do. So now this is not that impressive when you owe over $40 billion. And then this too, look at the change of cash provided by operations. They literally made $1.6 billion. They usually make over $4 billion. And then you have investments. Okay, look here. See how the gap is closing? They've spent almost the same as they did last year this quarter, but have brought in very little. Cash provided by operations for 2020 increased by 1.6 billion. Okay, from 6 billion to 7.6. Income tax, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, so you can see the investment is about the same, 800 million. And when you get to the millions, you're like, at this point, that's pennies. We're talking about billions of dollars. So it's about the same. But yet, most of the stuff is closed and not bringing in money. So if they're spending the same and not bringing in money, you do the math. Now look at this. Driven by lower spending at domestic parks and an increase in spending on Galaxy's Edge at both parks. Higher spending on technology to support. So here they're saying expenditures decreased from 4.9 to 4.0. Lower spending at our parks and resorts, primarily due to a decrease in spending. Okay, a decrease in spending in Galaxy's Edge. All right, so it's like I said, if you're spending less to maintain the parks, obviously your spending is going to look like it's down. But if the park's closed, it's not making money. Okay, so free cash flow. All right, that's one of the true numbers. What actual cash do they have to play with? It's not tied up in, hey, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I hit 900. Wow, amazing, awesome. So glad to hear that. I can't see. Let me see if I can see it. It says 898, I guess, when I refresh. Wow, awesome. Finally. Thanks for telling me. Here's what you really need to look at. Okay. First of all, remember, they have like 30 billion in cash loans. They're over 40 billion in debt in general. But here's the actual cash flow of what they could work with, spend, that is free, that is not like tied to cash loans or debt or tax or whatever. Like this is, yes, in my pocket, what I could do something with right now. Okay. So Disney's up, but also because they're 30 billion in cash debt. All right. But Disney is in 2020 has $900 million of disposable cash. To me and you, that's a lot of freaking money. To your local pizza shop, that's a lot of freaking money. To Nike, Disney, ESPN, Microsoft, that's fucking pocket change. You couldn't even run ads with that. Well, you could run ads, but you get what I'm saying, guys. That's abysmal for Disney, the Walt Disney Company in 2020 that owns Fox, Marvel, Hulu, ESPN, Star Wars. They have $900 million. Remember, the movies cost them $300 million to make. Now is $900 million a lot of money? No, it's not, is it, huh? They have to spend well over $1 billion just to maintain the parks. Several $1 billion. Is $900 million a lot of money? No. To us, it is. To Disney, that's like you can't even pay rent for the month. Thanks, guys. Man, I want to go see. Hold on. Hold on. It's been taking forever to get to freaking 900. 900 on the penny. Woo! I'll take a screenshot. Nice. Oh man, I'm so happy to finally see that number. All right. Thanks for letting me know. Woohoo, yes. Oh man, that's awesome. All right, quarter ended. Now if I could just get these last 100, man, out the way. Again, I just want to hit that milestone. It's not about ads. It's not about making money. I mean, which I do need to. I spend a lot of time and money on this, and I do need to make this into something viable. But to me, it's more so just reaching that milestone. I mean, 1,000 people. It's like, come on already. Anyways, quarter ended as reported. Pre-tax income loss at 580 million. All right. And again, if you look at these numbers individually, well, you might say, just like I just said, 900 million is not a lot of money. So then people would argue on the other one, well, then that loss isn't that much, 580. Okay. But when you take that and remember all the stuff that I scrolled through and you start doing the math and adding this stuff up, it's billions and billions of dollars. It is a lot. And let me tell you something. The average 80% of people and businesses, probably 90% of people and businesses on the earth, not even the United States, $580 million is something that they will never see. That's like what you made in the past, 50 years. Nike probably sees that every year, but not the pizza shop, not the, seamstress or the Goodwill or, whatever business you could think of. Maybe a McDonald's or something would make that, but typical businesses aren't making that kind of money. It's a lot of freaking money. So to have a loss of that, that's serious. Television costs, look at that, 740 million. Impairment charges, 300. See, so when you start adding, now we went from 500 plus 700 plus 300, or actually 400. All right, it starts at other income. There's another 650. Starts to add up. And then you start looking at the totals. This is expense change period. All right, well, they're not really giving a good detail there. Of course not. They don't want to show this stuff. What was this? EPS. Okay. All right, so that's about it. The main thing, it's looking like in proportion to the last quarter, it's not as bad, but you have to look at the big picture. They're still down from what they were just last quarter. Okay. Again, this is deceptive, free cash flow, but this is also with 30 billion plus of a cash loan. Let's look at this is what you need to look at. Okay. Last year they were at 3.4 billion. Now they're at 606 million. That right there tells you. All right. The yearly, last year they were at 15 billion. Right now they're at 8. Now again, to me and you, oh well, we got $8 billion. We're straight. To Disney that owes over 30 billion, they're in trouble. All right, that's the number that you're looking for. Okay, so I'm not going to dwell and harp on it. It is what it is. Not My Star Wars is at 900 subscribers. Woohoo! That's awesome. Amazing. Thank you guys for whoever is subscribing and supporting. I really, really appreciate it. We're getting there. You know, in a YouTube, I'll call it career for lack of a better word, your hardest milestone is the first 100. That most people never get there. You know, realize these channels have been around for years and don't even get to 100. Then your second really tough one is 1,000. And it's not to say that, you know, getting 5,000 or 100,000 isn't difficult, but once you hit 1,000, it starts to get more exponential. It starts to move. And that's a lot of it because as people have the perception, they come to a channel and they say, oh, it doesn't have 1,000 subscribers. It must not be very good. But if you actually watch my videos, you're going to see they're really awesome. So once that number says 1,000 or more, then things will change. It'll start to grow much faster. I'm not saying that I'm going to get, you know, thousands of subscribers overnight, although anything can happen, but that it starts to move a lot faster. I just say that for anybody that, you know, ever wants to get on YouTube or so you understand it more. Speaking of which, this channel was created November 16th, so it's about to be a year and 4 days. What is that? Let me take a quick look here, guys. That's Monday. And I'll tell you a little inside story as well since we're here. Okay. I wonder if it says the date here. December 12th. Okay. So I'll tell you a quick, since we're here and talking about 900. I started you know, obviously you guys know I'm a longtime Star Wars fan and I talk about this stuff, and I've been talking about the Disney stuff for years, but just not as a YouTube channel. What really spurred me to create the channel was on the day today, November 12th, Disney Plus launched. And I was like, all right, I'm pissed off about the movies. I'm pissed off about all the other stuff, but I'm going to get Disney Plus. I'm going to look at the service and I'm going to check out The Mandalorian and see how I feel about all of it and what it looks like. The site was all jacked up. Most people couldn't even play the damn Mandalorian. There was all kinds of wacky stuff going on with the site, which I do have a video about. I just got into so many other things. I never got to put that video out. And I will one of these days get that damn video done. But what really spurred me to, and as a matter of fact, just a moment. This video is in reality the first Not My Star Wars video. As you can see, November 12th, 2019. This is not the video that I was referring to that I made about the problems with, this is about problems with The Mandalorian and Disney Plus, but this was like just a 4.5 hour rant of me going off on like, what the fuck are you doing, Disney? Okay. What I'm referring to is I have an edited video that really breaks down like technical issues with the website, problems with The Mandalorian and stuff like that. More thought out and edited, and also stuff about Disney, which one of these days I'll put out. I've mentioned before, problems lie, Disney and Disney Plus, problems lies, sex and fails. Okay, there's all kinds of secret and dirty stuff on this site, which I'll one of these days get to that. So technically, this is the first Not My Star Wars video. It's just me going off for 4.5 hours. So I got Disney Plus, I checked it out, and this thing has actually gotten, look at that, 3,300 views, and made this video. And that was like, okay, I need to make a Star Wars channel because this is my digital marketing channel that has nothing to do with it. But I did this as a test. I said, let me put a guy that never made a Star Wars video because I've been around YouTube since 2012. I've made many videos, but a Star Wars video. Let me just test. I'm going to put a Star Wars video, shredding Disney, on my digital marketing channel, and just see like what reaction it gets. Okay. Well, a lot of people were like, "You're a dumbass. You're this. You're that. Disney's great. The movie is going to be great. The Mandalorian is awesome. Rise of Skywalker is going to be amazing." Okay, so it got a lot of negative stuff, but on the same token, it got views. Like, it got 100 views pretty quickly. So then I said, well, if I've never done this type of video on a channel that's not Star Wars related, and it got 100 views pretty quickly, and it kept going, I said, all right, well, I need to make a Not My Star Wars channel because I'm fed up with Disney. This was the last straw, Disney Plus. As you can see, November 12th, 2019. I literally did that stream and just went off. Okay, so that in reality is the first Not My Star Wars video, which I've been thinking about editing it down and putting it up. Maybe one day I will on Not My Star Wars as the first official video. I've left it here because while this channel has 1.5 thousand subscribers, it needs still some watch time, and being as this is 4.5 hours, it helps. One of these days I'll take it down because it doesn't really belong there. All right, so back to my point. Then on November 25th, there was the news of, there was a, J.J. Abrams was on Good Morning America, and he says, oh, I finished The Rise of Skywalker just yesterday, November 24th on a Sunday. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, yep, okay, definitely. I'm making Star Wars videos. So that was my first really heavy, really long edited video. Editing such a big project and getting my thoughts together and everything, and I wanted it to be a really special project. Now, compared to my videos today, it's not as good as what I can do today, but to this day, and I've mentioned this before, this is one of my best videos and one of my favorite videos. If you want to hear really the breakdown of what happened with George Lucas scripts, how Kathleen and JJ handled all this shit, all the nonsense that went on with how the sequel trilogy was made and all this stuff, this is a great video. It's my first Not My Star Wars video, December 12th, 2019. The reason I couldn't get it out, because remember I recorded it November 25th, was because it took me several weeks of learning how to do advanced editing, getting it all organized, etc., etc. So what I'm getting at, sorry for the long drawn out thing, is December 12th is the anniversary of the first video on Not My Star Wars, whereas the channel was created, as you can see, November 16th. But I did my experiment, which I probably should have just put it here. I'm not sure. I put it on the other channel because that channel had subscribers. So I figured, let me see on a channel that has some traction, what would happen. I probably should have put it on both here. Anyways. So the anniversary is in 4 days, which is Monday. So anyways, what I'm thinking is I might do a stream. It's hard for the long story. Might do a stream, like a little celebration for the year. Okay, so technically today is my anniversary because, as I showed you, that Mandalorian video was the first video that I put out that was technically Star Wars, right? The 16th is when this channel was created, but as far as actually doing a Star Wars video by Not My Star Wars was this video on my other channel, the 12th. So technically that is my anniversary, is today, Disney Plus Day. Then you could say, well, okay, the Not My Star Wars anniversary is the 16th because that's when I created the channel officially. But then you could argue, well, the first video was December 12th. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to celebrate. But what I'm thinking about this weekend, I'll probably just do a little hangout for an hour or two. 900 subscribers and the year anniversary. We'll see. I'll think about it. But anyways, there's a little Not My Star Wars history for you of how it all went down. But today, technically, is the first piece of content that I put out as, I guess I wasn't Not My Star Wars here, but, you know, same guy, same premise, same point right here last year. All right. I'm rambling on. I'm pretty excited about 900. And again, thank you so much for your support. I love your channel. Thanks so much, Obi-Wan. You know, I don't expect you guys to love every last thing I do or agree 100% with everything I say. But, you know, at least 900 of you do like my stuff. And you have to consider, one, YouTube doesn't show my stuff to everybody. So if the several million Star Wars fans out here actually saw my channel and my videos, I'm not saying they're all going to like my channel, but I would have much more subscribers. Also, you have people that they see that I have less than 1,000, they only catch one video, and then they're hesitant. They wait. So those same people, when I have 1,500 or 5,000 subscribers, will be a subscriber. It's like a mental thing where if it has less than 1,000 subscribers, people don't tend to put faith in it. It's sad that that's the way. That's how society works, you know. But it is what it is. All right. Well, anybody have any questions, comments? You can see I showed you the Disney. Also, for what it's worth, the link is in the bottom of the description. The WaltDisneyWorldCompany.com. If you come to the here's where you land. You have it up here, Investor Relations, or you can come down here. They got Mando. You go to Investor Relations. They always have the stock, and look at that dropping. Yikes. This actually went down. If you look at my thumbnail, I think it was 163, and look, just now after the call, it's 230. So in real time, it's going down. Okay, so here's all the previous webcasts, and here's the most recent one, obviously, right, that we just listened to. But also, just so you know, they have like other information stuff. And if you come down reports, here's the PDF that I've been showing you here. Right? You can look at all the PDFs that are there, just for anybody that's curious or hasn't seen them. And this is the annual report. And here's, of course, the quarterly. Which one did I open, by the way? This is, yeah, Q4. Would still be very similar, but whatever. And then there's other little things here, like their tax filings and whatever. Okay. So I guess I'll finish up. I'm going to make some dinner, celebrate my 900. Wow, that's amazing. Thanks again so much, guys, for whoever's listening or does listen. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Something apparently moved or fell in my closet. I don't know if you guys heard that. And we'll keep on going. I've got a lot of cool stuff coming. I'll tell you that the next two videos coming, unless there's like some little project that gets squeezed in, is all the problems with the Mandalorian Chapter 2, The Child. Those videos are very time consuming. And to tell you the truth, like, Mandalorian is super boring to me. When I try to make those videos, it's like I can barely keep my eyes open watching the show or making those videos. It's really hard for me to make those damn videos. I know a lot of people like the show, and that's fine, but man, for me, it's a struggle to make those videos. So they take time, but they're also very time consuming because it's just a lot of stuff. Anyways, the Chapter 2, The Child, that's like 3/4 done. I just need to get some screenshots and put it together and finish it up. That'll be probably the next video release, and I'll make a point to get it done because there was other stuff I needed to get out of the way for other channels and stuff going on. But that one I've been needing to get done, and it's pretty much done, and I'm going to really put a priority on getting it finished. So Chapter 2, The Child is coming. And after that, the Empire Project is coming. That's a big one. That's going to be very awesome. I've mentioned it in the past. It has a lot of other YouTube creators doing the voices of characters from The Empire Strikes Back. I'm very excited about that one. It's going to be super cool. I've just been busy, but the script is all recorded and ready. I have everyone's dialogue of the characters that I needed. I just need to get some movie clips and screenshots, which I can do, no problem, and just edit it and get it all together. But it's pretty much, the bones are there. I just got to stitch it all together and get it ready. I've just been busy, and I want to make sure that one is really, really good. Like quality of like the Skywalker Legacy documentary, it's going to be like that. Something really awesome. You know, it's somewhat of a tribute to Empire Strikes Back mixed with my kind of narration of when I went to go see it back on June 15th in the theater after 40 years. So I know a lot of you are going to really like that video. It's going to be amazing. And it's got a lot of cameo voices in it. Some of the people you guys should know. And there's lots of surprises in there. And it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to be one of my best videos. So I'm really looking forward to that. So those are the two big ones coming up. Is the Mando Child breakdown, and the Empire Project is coming. It is coming. So thank you again. Keep up the fantastic work. Appreciate all the research and details. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I talk on too much or go on too much, but I'd rather be thorough than not. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. As always, thank you so much for stopping in the streams and subscribing and supporting and being a part of this little community of mine, which continues to grow. And one day, you know, you look back and maybe I'll have 50,000 or however many subscribers, and you know, but it's been a fun journey. And today is technically a year, so there you go. All right. Can't think of anything else at the moment. So I was trying to think if there was any kind of corrections I needed to make from the stream yesterday. Not really. There's just a ton of information there. But yeah. It should be all good. Hopefully some of you will check that out. And I guess I'm going to grab some dinner. So thanks a lot, guys. Mando, by the way, I don't know if you guys want, but if you do, leave it in the comments of this video or whatever video. Do you guys want me to review the Mando episodes? Let me tell you the truth. I'm up at night working. So I always catch Mando when it comes out around 1 a.m. And I watch it first thing. I watched The Marshal, the first episode, and I immediately made a video, and I started it editing, and I got it probably like half or 3/4 way done, and then I'm just like, I don't even care. I don't even like want to do it. I just don't enjoy it. So like I immediately made a video because I wanted to be like right in the breaking, get it up, you know, right away while everybody else is trying to get it up, you know. And I could have been one of the first to put up a review of Mando because I work at night usually. But I just like, I got most of the way through it and I'm like, man, this is just dumb. Like, who cares? I don't care. You know, so anyways, what I'm getting at is if you guys want me to review all the episodes of Mando, I mean, I can. But it turned out to be like a 20-minute video, I think. And it just didn't seem very interesting to me. Like just saying, okay, well, this is what happened. You guys can watch the show, and honestly, not much happened. What I think is smarter is to invest my time in doing all the problems with the Mandalorian, where I really break it down and show you guys where the lore problems are, where the production problems are. And it's not about hate. It's just, you know, really breaking down and showing what's going on with the Mandalorian as opposed to a quick, you know, recap review thing. Again, if you guys want me to do that, just let me know and I can, and I will. But I just figure, why waste my time? I also thought, well, maybe I'll do a stream like after the 4th episode midway through the season and we can talk about it. I don't know. We'll see. But that's why I haven't really been doing Mando stuff because I just all right. I say do it if you enjoy it. If you don't, then you don't have to. I want you to enjoy what you do. I agree with everyone. Yeah, and that's something also, like there's a lot of videos I could have made or I could have rushed to make. But to me, there's a few standards. Like number one, I want to talk about the stuff that I care about. Number two, I don't want to just rush out videos. I could have made a ton of other videos. I could have tried to compete with everybody like, oh, I got to be the first one to talk about this. Many times I know about stuff early throughout the night, and then people the next day are making videos. I could have beaten everybody, but I don't want to rush and just make a video just to make it and just to try to get the trend and just try to, it is good to be onto the trends. And that's partly, honestly, why I did the Darth Maul thing last night, because I know that that's going to be a big topic. But I also took the time, right, to research, and I wasn't the first one, although I could have been one of the first ones to make a video. So I just, you know, I could rush to get more stuff out, but I agree. I want to make videos that I enjoy and will put a lot of passion and time and love and quality into them. I always say quality over quantity. So, you know, like I said yesterday in the stream, for anybody that missed it, if you don't hear from me for a few weeks, don't worry. It's not that I'm like gone or not doing something. On the contrary, if you haven't seen me in a while, it's because you know I'm up to something. It's because I'm heavily editing stuff as opposed to just trying to make videos. And in fact, usually when I want to talk about something that's like pending right now, I do a stream because my videos I take time to edit. All right. So anyways, I'm blabbering on. I agree. I want to do the videos that I want to do. You know, and hopefully that you guys like, and if there's stuff that you want me to do. D, I have not forgotten about your request. I do have the note here. Honestly, I don't remember if it was Kasdan you asked me about. I believe it was. I do have the note. So, and know that it's in the back of my mind. And when I have the time, was it Kasdan? I do have it here. I can't find it at the moment, but I do have that note. I remember you asked me if you would like to see a video. Right at the moment, I have a bunch of notes here, so I'd have to look. But I have it, and I have not forgotten. It's in the back of my head. When I have some extra time, I will make a video. I will research and do that. Kurtz. Yes, that's what it was, Kurtz. Anyways, I do have it written down. I will get it done. So, all right, guys. Let me. If I don't stop myself, I'm just gonna keep jabbering here. Thank you so much. 900 subscribers. Awesome. Appreciate you guys. It's been a year, so awesome. And you will be seeing me soon. Look for those new videos coming. Maybe there'll be a little something here and there in between. I want to do more, by the way, little quirky stuff like the Ray sand slides. A lot of you reacted, really seemed to enjoy that, and I had a lot of fun making them. And they're a little bit easier to manage and edit and make. I can make them a little bit faster, so expect you'll probably see some of those little shorts here and there popping up. Yeah, Mando 2, The Child, and the Empire Project are coming soon. So, thanks again. I will see you guys very soon. May the Force be with you, and I appreciate you guys. And, you know, I'm always here. Leave me comments, questions, whatever. I'm always looking and reading your stuff. Oh, that reminds me of one last thing. D, I don't know if you noticed that the holiday special, I had uploaded and you left your comment, and then I don't know if you noticed that went away, and then I had to re-upload it. Okay, so just for anybody that's curious, there was some audio that was out of sync, and I'm just a stickler, and I figure that thing's going to live there. It's going to drive me crazy if, you know, that audio is, in fact, it was Princess Leia. It was a few people, but Princess Leia in particular talking, and it was out of sync, and it was just making me crazy. So I went back in the editor, synced it, fixed it up, and re-uploaded it. So there you go. That's why the holiday special popped up twice in like 2 or 3 days. So anyways, appreciate you guys. And I'm always here. If you have any requests, comments, questions, know that I listen and I look. Appreciate you, and I will see you soon. May the Force be with you too, everyone, and everyone else. And hopefully we'll see each other very soon. We will. Okay, guys. Take care.